the Lord has risen upon you.
I love that line.
It is a new month. A happy new month, a happy September. What we're going to do this month is speak blessings of ourselves. This is Morning Cafe. Karibu sana, my name is Anudida.
Ukiona mwezi inaanza na Monday, hiyo ni mwezi mzuri sana. First day of this month is on a Monday. As in kila kitu inaambatana.
Yes.
Karibu sana, my name is Fred Ndimundi. This is Morning Cafe.
All right, let's take a look at the local dailies and we'll start off with the People Daily right here. Oh, let's start off with the Daily Nation. Ghost Paradise.
All right. Mambo imechemka mahali. People Daily, how unemployed youth are being weaponized for politics. That's an analysis. Na siku hizi People Daily wanafanya analysis sana.
The Standard, unmoved by outcry.
Wanaendelea kuchoma. Ruto arudia mahasla, ndio habari kuu kwenye kurasa mbele wa Taifa Leo.
The Star, varsities, new bastions of ethnic hirings, report shows.
Na ni line mrefu sana,
Mrefu sana.
Kidogo, inachokesha. On Business Daily, Facebook takes stake in Safaricom's sub-sea cable.
All right.
Mbona inajaza mdomo, nimesikia nimechoka.
We'll be back to take a look at the local dailies. Lakini at the State of the Nation.
For the State of the Nation this morning, we've received an apology from Kipruto Arapkiro, but Samuel Pogisho will be here, Mesha Kodede, and the Deputy Governor Wajir County, Ahmed Mohamed Abdi. For the very first time on Morning Cafe, he'll be here. So do stand by for this, coming up at 6:30. Yes.
All right, tukivuka kule border in Uganda, we'll start off with the Daily Monitor. Uganda, Kenya agreed to no trade barriers.
Now, this is why we actually look at our neighboring countries' dailies. Tutafute kama tumementioniwa mahali.
Kabisa.
Leo tumementioniwa kwa hii Daily Monitor.
Wanasema ni deal following President Museveni and President William Ruto's July meetings. Officials from the two countries met at the weekend and agreed goods from either countries will not be subjected to tax restrictions, as has been the practice. Tanzania should learn from Uganda.
Yes, because now you can actually see ujirani upande ingine huku, we are actually having very nice relations.
Yes.
Upande ile mwingine analeta maneno ngumu.
Anasema hiyo tabia yetu mbaya ibaki kwetu.
Mbona hawafikiri tuna tabia mbaya? How come? By the way, how come? Have you realized it's only Tanzanians who complain about Kenyans? Ugandans never complain about Kenyans.
Because tunafanana. We are one.
Tuko tu sawa.
We are kichwa ni ngumu kama yao.
Hao ni kichwa ngumu.
Uganda. Director anasema Tanzania waende kule Madagascar.
It was funny that at the finals of the Chan tournament, people were supporting Morocco.
See, I told you the last time we were here.
Kenyans supported Morocco.
Me included.
Madagascar, we don't want you.
Other stories here, Nandala Mafabi receives heroic welcome at home. That is a Forum for Democratic Change presidential flag bearer Nathan Nandala Mafabi. Ako pale na
This is the first time we're actually seeing the alternative politicians in Uganda. Because kwa hizi gazeti inakuwa tu Museveni. The thing is, and you'll see, because we have the regional daily, the East African, the way in Tanzania and in Uganda, they've managed to actually finyilia the main opposition leaders.
Yeah.
So these are new opposition leaders. The main opposition leader should be Besigye. But you're not seeing Besigye anywhere because Akombaroni. Lakini now, for the first time, we're seeing other alternative leadership. Nandala Mafabi. This is the first time we're hearing this name.
Yes. Other stories here, a history of constitution making in Uganda. They say 30 years of 1995 constitution. October will be exactly 30 years since the current constitution came into force, and starting today.
Oh, it's 30 years since 95?
Yes. Allah. Where? This newspaper is looking into the journey the document has taken so far in its state. 3 decades later, last week we were celebrating our own constitution out 15 years. Business Daily in Uganda comes to your favorite paper. Pia wanataka kuanza matters biashara. That's basically the Daily Monitor.
Staying in Uganda, you're talking about the new vision now. Na campaigns imenoga kule Uganda, so I think going forward up until January next year, the pictures down here is just campaigns. Umona Daily Monitor is about the same thing. Crowds are campaigns, and now the new vision, same thing. Campaigns going on. But the main story is about something different. Retirement age for senior medics raised. So they're saying practicing specialists added another 10 years. Experts welcome the move, and this definitely is welcome. If I told you to retire at 60 and you're a medical specialist, now nakwambia you retire at 70. Nani atakata hiyo maneno?
That's amazing.
This is something that probably even people, although in Kenya, I think medics just still perform private practice.
Yeah.
Vizuri sana.
Ukiwa na private
Ni ile tu now you cannot be employed by government after 60, but it's important, especially for the medics. This is something very positive if someone else can pick it up. Other stories here, Army Chief Mohozi, UK Defense Attaché, hold talks, and you can see them there, photographed on the front page. So yes, that's as far as Uganda news is concerned. Apart from this non-political headline, everything else is campaigns.
Actually, this is a cancer run.
Oh, it's a cancer run?
Yes, it looks like it.
How come this paper has decided to move away from politics?
Ni vizuri wakipumzika. As long as Kainerugaba is there.
Okay, that replaces his father.
Yes. That's Uganda, New Vision. Let's cross over to Tanzania. The Citizen, Chauma, CUF unveil plans as campaigns gather pace. And opposition parties Chauma and CUF yesterday launched their 2025 election campaigns. They're unveiling bold promises and sweeping reforms they intend to implement should they form the next government. Chauma is a sect of Chadema that left the party. Chadema made this year, was it in April or June, thereabout? And their party bearer is Salim Mwalimu, who was also part of Chadema. Zai and the presidential candidate kule Chauma. Other stories here, still in politics, Samia pledges to turn Dodoma into modern political economic hub. Why investors flock to collective schemes and corporate bonds, they say, while equities still account for the largest share of investors in Tanzania. Data shows that government securities and collective investment schemes are drawing in new money at a pace not seen in years. They say the number of investors in CIS nearly doubled to 420,682, while those in government securities jumped by more than 70% to 19,049. This story has been covered on page 8 and 9. How to safeguard online space during election season is also a special feature covered on page 3. You've got Tanzania wanaenda election, the 29th October.
All right.
This year.
So hapo unaona this one is usually very business centric, but politics is the main headline.
Yes.
But ukienda hapa sasa ni kama ile gazeti ingine ya huyu jamaa wa PNG ametunyima hiyo ya Mwananchi. Lakini ni sawa tu. Ni sawa tu. So tunaenda the East African. This is a regional paper, and this is actually telling the truth. The reality is that in Uganda and Tanzania, it is Marta's election. Off the blocks against limping rivals, Uganda's Museveni and Tanzania's Samia got ruling party tickets to defend seats as their worthy opponents languish in jail on treason charges. Yes, all of them. Because the word here is worthy opponents. They are worthy opponents. People who can actually put a proper contention against these candidates or these presidents. That is Tundu Lissu in Tanzania and Kizza Besigye in Uganda. Incidentally or curiously or wako jela wote facing treason charges until anotona elections ikipita wataachiliwa.
Chezo wa town.
Immediately after the elections, Tundu Lissu I think should be free by December, then Besigye will be freed by February.
Kenya tunaweza fanya hiyo mambo kweli?
No, it used to be like that actually.
Right now?
A few years back it used to be like that. But now with our new constitution,
we can't.
It's a different ball game altogether. Rwanda Air on a new flight path. That's another story there. And Ethiopia on alert as Egypt troops enter Somalia. So these actually, siasa hapa kuna Kenya mahali inaongelelewa kwa hii.
Afro Cinema helps households in Kenya make sense of their lives.
That is the best headline they could get from Kenya.
That's about it.
Actually, hapa ni kama tumesaulika. The focus is on Tanzania and Uganda. Majirani. Making headlines.
Tuangalie hali ya anga sasa. It's warming up in Nairobi and other parts of the country as well. We start off in Nyeri, 13 degrees this morning, feels like 12. It's a cloudy day in Nyeri, highs of 22 degrees.
I was actually in Nyeri yesterday.
You are?
Yes.
How's the weather?
Very nice. Very nice.
This is nice. 22 degrees
22 degrees is actually warmer in Nyeri because usually Nyeri is a very cold place.
Okay.
So this is actually very comfortable.
Okay, precipitation in Nyeri, 0.4 millimeters. Hiyo ni kidogo sana. Garissa?
Let's go up north to Garissa, and in Garissa, 22 degrees. This is the highest that Nyeri will experience today. But here ndo wanaanza now in Garissa. They're waking up to 22, but it feels like 25. It's that warm. Partly cloudy, but highs of 32 degrees. So it is a very warm day in Garissa today. Chances of rain 0.6, that's almost nil.
Tukienda kule pwani in Mombasa, it's 23 degrees, feels like 25 this morning, a mostly cloudy day. Highs of 27 degrees.
Ukiangalia hapa from 11, hata kama nasema partly cloudy ni asubuhi. Ukianzia 11 kuendelea, there's no cloud cover.
Jua.
Proper sunshine.
Ile jua inawaka hapo. Precipitation.
We're back to holiday weather.
Yeah.
In Mombasa.
0.3 millimeters.
Yes.
In Mombasa.
Eldoret has been chilly for the past few weeks, but it's also warming up. It's currently 14 degrees, but you can actually see it's getting to 22 degrees. Chances of rainfall, yes, very high, 5.0 millimeters of rainfall, meaning that Eldoret will actually get the biggest
amount of rainfall.
Yes, amount of rainfall today. It's a cloudy day there.
All right, Kisumu, it's 19 degrees, feels like 25 this morning. They're saying it's a mostly cloudy day, lakini jua inawaka huku. It's cloudy hadi hapo 11 a.m. lakini tukisonga mbele, it's very hot, 28 degrees. Precipitation 0.8 millimeters.
28 is also actually higher than what we saw even last week for Kisumu.
Last week it was 29, thereabout. Finally, Nairobi.
Nairobi, 14 degrees Celsius, feels like it. Highs of 25. This is the warmest I've seen this entire... Okay, now we're in a new month. I wanted to say this entire month. No. It's a new month, so it's actually a warm... Because even Friday we're going to get as high as 26, which is very high. Meaning that this week is a warm week. 25 degrees across Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday gets even warmer into the weekend. It's actually very hot in Nairobi. Actually 25 degrees in Nairobi, utasikia joto. Hiyo utasikia joto. Hii ni ile wiki unavaa vest. Unakaa tu na vest bila shati.
Precipitation unasema?
Zero. Hakuna mvua hapa Nairobi. Yes.
Right, 10 minutes past 6 a.m. Tuangalie traffic inakaa vipi.
All right. So as far as traffic is concerned, na ngoja ipotea alafu nirudi. Yes. You can see Pangani interchange building up very nice. This is a proper Monday morning traffic. You can actually see build up at this hour. This is very beautiful when I see this right here. It means that things are normal. Hapo ukiona ni green at this time unajua huko nyuma kuna shida. But now, because I can see it's normal, it means that Thika Road is moving kawaida. All the way from Githurai, all the way down past Kasarani, Garden City Mall, all SOPs, all the way past KCA University, that Utalii Drift. Yes, traffic is normal. When you see this chocker block here, it means everything is normal. Ukiona hii ni green, kuna shida kule juu. Kiambu Road is good as well. Jogoo Road, yes. Now we are back to normal traffic because hapa ndio kuna na shida. Ukiona kuna shida hapa City Stadium, that is not normal. Ukiona shida hapa Machakos bus station, that's not normal. Hapa Haile Selassie Avenue, that's kawaida. So nothing out of the ordinary there. And as far as traffic is concerned on the major tributaries into the CBD, mbona tumeenda mwingi? Tumeenda mwingi.
Just stop here. Okay.
Yeah. Let's come back to Nairobi. Ni kama tumeenda mbali sana. So yes, the other roads in the city, there seems to be a problem today. I don't know what's happening there.
Lakini,
we're technologically challenged this morning.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
We are technologically challenged. Sasa watu wa Man U sasa watatulia leo.
Anyway, nothing out of the ordinary. That is the traffic situation. 12 minutes past 6. We'll be back to take a look at the traffic situation. Let's have the quote of the day.
Remaining silent in the face of injustice only impedes progress. Speaking up for what truly matters is crucial for creating change, whether in your own life or the wider world.
All right. Jamani, the fact that we're supporting Arsenal.
Weekend mzuri, lakini tuseme nini?
It's going to be a long day. Let's take a look at the local dailies and we start off with the Star e-Citizen platform. 11 billion shillings missing amid ownership mystery. Contractual documents show private firms can uninstall system at will. Very sad news there. Anasema kwamba e-citizen platform shadowy ownership and missing 11 billion shillings. The government took over the e-citizen engine from Webmaster, and the contract was later awarded to same company for system maintenance. And they say investigations have revealed a trail of irregularities, suggesting that the multi-billion shilling platform through which millions of Kenyans pay for passports, IDs, driving licenses, and hundreds of government services may not fully belong to the government, as private firms have an upper hand on its control. Saying at the heart of the crisis lies a fundamental question of ownership and a series of opaque agreements that critics say allowed little-known intermediaries to embed themselves between the state and its citizens.
Ile gazeti tunaonyesha sahi hewani ni ya weekend. We in a new month. Ule jamaa ameweka hiyo gazeti awache maneno yake.
All right, other stories here. Ruto insists SHA fraudsters must be prosecuted. Mtu alisema tunaongea sana lakini hatufanyi.
Hatufanyi. Tunasema tu we will leave no stone unturned. Stones have been turned all these years. Well, there's a nice photo here of the president and the CIA governor.
Alirudi. Alirudi?
Nani?
CIA governor.
No, he's been around for a while.
Zile zilikuwa rumors.
Gani hizo? Oh, no, he came back. I remember when the president was actually in Homa Bay, I think even Governor Orengo showed up.
Ah, nice.
Yes, yes.
All right.
So matters e-citizen platform, and it's a big debate, and we'll be having a deputy governor today. So yes, hiyo tutazungumzia. Kama technology inatushinda, mbona tuweke pesa hapo?
Yeah.
All right, and we go to the Daily Nation, and we have the face and the image of the controller of budget, Margaret Nyakango. On the front page, Ghosts Paradise. They talk about the admission by authorities at Trog hospitals trying to steal 10 billion shillings from the Social Health Authority, of which the president has said, watu wataenda jela tujui. Nini tunangoja. It has revived past scandals involving fraudulent payments for ghost government workers, schools and health facilities. And they've listed some of these. The story is covered on page 2 and 3. But bogus employees, billions of taxpayers' money looted in fraudulent salaries for non-existent government employees. And this is both at county and national government. Fictitious schools, zile shule haziko lakini pesa inaenda tu. Auditor General's special audit found that non-existent schools pocketed 3.7 billion shillings in capitation. Phony learners. Authorities are flagging inflated enrollment figures, with reports showing schools steal more than 700 million annually. Na mnasema inchi haina pesa. Fake hospitals. Audits uncover looting of billions through fraudulent claims under the state medical scheme, including the defunct NHIF. Yes, so musiambiwa ati hatuko najua. All this is there, it's been documented, the government knows, the president knows, everyone knows. Shida tu ni, is there anyone taking any action? Hapo ndio story iko. All right, other stories given prominence here. Crisis over county tenders and new jobs. Governors have convened an emergency meeting today to address the stalemate of a hiring of 7,414 medics. And the Treasury's electronic procurement system. Watu hawataki hiyo maneno. Hawataki hiyo technology.
Kwanza COG wamekataa.
Mbona mnakataa technology?
Teknolojia tumeshaona hapa iko na mambo hapo kwa the Star. E-citizen what?
Hii story lazima tuangalie.
Facing amid ownership.
Mpaka they even calling a crisis meeting. The story is on page 4. Governors have rejected a new e-procurement system being pushed by the national government. They've convened an emergency meeting today to discuss the stalemate of employing of that and the electronic procurement system. These are directed by the Ministry of Health for counties to absorb those people. But kuna hii kitu inaitwa EGP, e-government procurement. Counties governments wanasema hapana, hatutaki maneno. Back page, we have a photo there of the winners of the CHAN tournament. Morocco's coach Sektiwi reveals secrets of his team's success. Hii ni team tulipiga, lakini tukapigwa mahali, tukafinywa mahali. But it's okay. At least yesterday, Kenyans showed up. And congratulations to Kenyan fans because they showed up and went to the stadium. Friday and even Saturday for the finals. The finals are on Saturday.
Not Friday?
No, on Saturday.
Okay.
30th. Yes, Saturday. So Kenyans, at least congratulations, because I know when the semi-finals were played in Tanzania, fans didn't show up to the stadium. At least Kenyans showed up. for the finals. Congratulations. That's the Daily Nation.
Business Daily, Facebook takes stake in Safaricom's subsea cable. It's saying a unit of US tech giant Facebook will finance and take a stake in Safaricom's undersea fiber optic cable running from Oman to Mombasa in the race for more bandwidth, high-speed internet and less reliance on third parties. Sema kwamba Age Network Services Limited, an Ireland-based affiliate of Facebook, on a matter, is listed as a project financier for the 4,108-kilometer subsea fiber optic cable. This story is on page 2. UN eases landlords' pain in city leafy suburbs. When President Donald Trump dismantled the U.S. Agency for International Development, that is USAID, the impact of the abrupt withdrawal of U.S. expertise and money hit Nairobi's upscale neighborhoods hard. Nasema kwamba walishindwa kulipa rent. Lakini sasa UN wame-ease landlords' pain.
Wamefanya nini? This is a very interesting story. I would want to know what exactly they mean. It's on page 4. Because I know there's always this debate about, especially watu wanasema vile UN will come to Kenya and what impact it will have, especially on Kiambu Road. Sababu Gigiri kijaa.
Expansion of the
yes.
road.
So by 2026, major UN agencies, including the United UNICEF and UNFPA and UN Women, may relocate their headquarters from high-cost western cities to Nairobi. Yes, so this is actually what they're counting on, the fact that the UN is coming to Kenya.
Yeah.
So yes, USAID left, but now UN is coming, and that will actually raise property prices, even rental prices, especially in areas around Gigiri, Runda, Ruaka, Kiambu Road, and Kiambu itself. Yes. So kama unaishi Kiambu Road, rent inaenda kupanda.
All right, on the ticker, supplier arrears up by 104 billion shillings in 3 months. Pending bills by the national governments shot up by 104 billion in 3 months to June 2025, backing a trend of reduced dues witnessed since the start of the pay down of verified arrears. Sale of Runda School for 1.2 billion shillings to Makini unit triggers court suit. Kuna hapa to the same story about UN eases landlords' pain in city. Unasema kwamba staff working on US-funded projects withdrew children from schools and abandoned rental properties in Runda, Muthaiga, and Kitusuru. All right, CBK rejects exemption of credit cards from new pricing formula. That's the Business Daily this morning.
All right. From the Business Daily, we go to the Standard, another stinging headline, kama kawaida yao. Unmoved by outcry, na wameka picha ya mawaziri watatu. Wanasema costly friendship. They have survived scandals that would have ruined lesser men, from the looting of billions under their watch to questionable oil imports, a high death toll from road accidents, and serious human rights abuses. But Aiden Duale, Davis Chirchir, and Kipchumba Murkomen remain untouchable, shielded not by their performance, but by their unbreakable bond with President William Ruto. In Ruto's inner circle, survival is not about service, it's about loyalty. And scandal is merely the cost of doing business. So these three gentlemen are under the spotlight. Yes, there's a lot of scandal and a lot of questions, especially within their dockets. But the president appears very reluctant
Calling them
to actually fire anyone. Lakini amesema atapeleka watu jela, atapeleka wapi?
How gusi?
Kama shai watu wanapitisha 10 billion, wewe na unasema utawapeleka jela wapi? If you do not touch the CS, then who do you touch? How do you fire even the juniors of the CSs? If you do not touch these CSs. President Uhuru Kenyatta fired a number of CSs. President Mwai Kibaki fired CSs. President Moi was known to fire ministers at 1 p.m. Unaisikia hivi, ukienda hivi unasikia umefutwa kazi. Amewachishwa kazi mara moja and the driver has to stop you by the roadside. But in 2025 it would appear kufuta CS kazi ni kitu impossible sana in this administration. Other stories given prominence on this front page is broad-based at 1. Chronism or unlocking the country's potential. 1 year since opposition leader Raila Odinga joined government. Opinion is still divided. Was it an easy way to power, or has the union stabilized the country and made the lives of Kenyans better? So yes, 1 year since the broad-based arrangement started. And want to sleep soundly? Get your gut health. So yes, historia broad-based, I think, is one of the big discussions. Yes. On page 6, that's where the story is. Back page, yes, a nice photo of the president akipeana hiyo Chan trophy ilikuwa hapa last week. And he didn't take a photo with it.
Ulichukua?
Koma
kabisa.
So President William Ruto with FIFA President Giovanni Infantino and CAF boss Patrice Motsepe with the Chan 2024 trophy on Saturday. A very nice picture there on the back page of the Standard.
All right, Taifa Leo, Ruto arudie mahasla, arejea kwa mama mboga na bodaboda kujaribu kuwavutia upande wake tena kama alivyofanya kura za mwaka 2022. Anasema kwamba ni mkakati, amekuwa akimwaga noti na kushiriki shughuli za kuwawezesha kiuchumi wa Kenya wa tabaka la chini kama mbinu ya kuzima malalamiko ya uchumi mgumu na utawala mbaya, kusudi likiwa kujiongezea ufuasi kwa ajili ya uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027. Funny enough, au mama mboga wanaenda wakiitwa wanaenda for that 2,000 Kenyan shillings enough. Lakini there was a time to wali complain that wanaitwa wakiwa wengi hivyo. They've given 67 bob.
Mkigawana na mko wengi because watu wakisikia kuna pesa mahali, all of them show up.
Yeah.
So, but then again, even for this economic empowerment programs, unasikia ati kuna budget ya 5 million. So how do you go home with 67 shillings? Hapo kuna issue. There's a problem somewhere. There's someone who's pocketing this money.
Cartel kila mali.
Anaifiki ule mama mboga wa chini.
Haifiki.
It's very unfortunate. Even for the president, because now people are actually finding out that ukienda unatoka na 67 bob. Surely.
Na yeye ametoa pesa.
Na anajua ametoa pesa. Hapana, hiyo ni mbaya.
Kindiki ageuza kijiji cha Irunduni ngome imara. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 3 anasema michache iliyopita kijiji cha Irunduni kilikuwa eneo lililochakaa katika kata ya Mukothima, kaunti ya Tharaka Nithi. Vidokezo zaidi, wandani wa Joho wavuna serikalini, Boga apewa kazi katika bodi ya huduma za uvuvi, Tumbo wapata fursa taasisi ya mafunzo ya ubaharia. Man City, Simba, Kibogoyo yalijipata katika nafasi ya 12 baada ya kung'atwa na Brighton katika ligi kuu ya EPL. On the top strip, Israel yaua mawaziri Yemen, waziri mkuu na mawaziri kadhaa wanaoegemea upande wa Houthi waangamia. Vidokezo zaidi, hatutalipiza kisasi kwa Ruto mwaka 2027. Matiang'i asema japo upinzani unateswa, nia yao ni kulainisha mambo. Taifa Leo.
From Taifa Leo, we go to the Business Daily. How unemployed youth are being weaponized for politics. And this is an analysis. They talk about the ghost of Bongeki because these gangs are returning now. And it's partly because of unemployment and the rising political temperatures. So it would appear that, yes, politicians have just gone back to the same old tactics of using unemployed youth for their own usumbufu. We saw it happen in Nairobi when the former deputy president came back from the US trip. And what happened on Mombasa Road, they were met by goons and it turned into mayhem. So this is an analysis on page 6 of the People Daily, talking about that. Other stories, how KNH lost 698 million shillings for medical services. Mbona watu wanapoteza pesa mambo ya mahospitali na afya?
Afya house ni mafia house.
Yes, that's a crime scene.
Yeah.
That's a crime scene. And why governors are opposed to new e-procurement system, and that's a story that we'll be discussing. Tumeona kwingi magavana hawataki hiyo technology.
They don't want it.
They don't want it.
Anasema kwamba according to Mbadi, that is the Treasury CS, implementing of EGPS will save the country at least 100 billion shillings annually by reducing cost of goods and services, increasing transparency. Lakini there's something quite interesting here, that contractors and suppliers who do genuine businesses had a sigh of relief to the chagrin of unscrupulous brokers and middlemen when Parliament passed the EGPS.
So kama ni law, mbona wanakataa?
All right.
Why do you resist technology? That's the issue. People Daily.
Ata wewe, si unaona what the Star is saying. Okay. That's the People Daily. Let's take a look at the caricatures now.
Matters health are being given prominence, especially on the cartoons today, yes. SHA and how the cartels are doing it. So we have this ambulance here. This is a cartoon on the People Daily. This is a SHA ambulance. Imevunjika hata kioo, kila kitu imeharibika, hata engine haiko. Yeah. But cartels hapa na government cartels hapa wamenona kweli kweli na wamekalia nani? Wanjiku. Wamemkalia kabisa. Na amebeba Kenyans contributions. Anasema get in, anaambia uingia hapa kwa hii ambulance. It's affordable and working. You know, the insistence that SHA is working. SHA is working.
It must work.
Kuna ule jamaa alisema, kuna niliona mtu amesema yes, SHA is working. Because it was not intended to treat anyone. It
So
is working as a conduit for fraudulent deals, so it's actually working. Okay, simi nimesema hiyo, nasema I'm quoting somewhat verbatim.
Yes.
Yeah, on social media. People Daily.
People Daily. This is the Daily Nation. Ghost hospitals, ghost school, ghost workers. Kuna mtu anasema pale, just given me an idea, ghost voters. Yes, ghost everything. Ghost hospitals right now they're trending in Kenya. Ghost schools trending, ghost workers trending. Control of budget, amesema this is something that is happening in the country.
Right.
Kini kuna politician amesema you've given me an idea. Okay.
The last cartoon we have is the one on the Standard, and we have three frames here. Two people talking here. Moja namuuliza, so when is Kenya hosting the next CHAN tournament? Ambia, no idea, but we do have AFCON coming in 2027. Why do you ask? Well, I suppose it's the only way to ensure we qualify to participate. Meaning that we never qualify unless we are hosts.
Really?
Yes, we rarely qualify. Now, CHAN, at least because we are hosts, we automatic qualification. AFCON coming 2027, we'll definitely participate because we are a host nation. But does it mean that we cannot, unless we are hosting, we can never take part and become proper contenders in these tournaments? So that's a question Kenyans wajiulize. That's a cartoon on the Standard.
All right. Now, again, State of the Nation.
Samuel Pogisio, former cabinet minister, ICT in the Kibaki 2 administration, will be in studio alongside Mesha Kodede, political analyst, and for the very first time on Morning Cafe, Deputy Governor Wajir County, Ahmed Mohamed Abdi. So do stand by for those conversations coming your way in a short while.
All right, Monday Blitz will be joining us later on the show, Fred Arocho and Katela Macy. But meanwhile, do interact with us on our socials. It's 31 minutes past 6 a.m. 22047 is our SMS line. On X, TV47 Digital, my handle is at Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe.
My handle is at Fred Indimuli on X.
On Facebook and YouTube, TV47 Kenya. See you after the break.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Jiunge nasi tunapoangazia safari za viongozi bora. Kutoka kwa ushindi mkubwa hadi masomo magumu.
Wakati wetu kwamba wasichana si wa kusoma, ni wa kuolewa, ng'ombe ipatikane, wazazi wakuwe watajiri.
Tunashughulikia yote.
I wish I were a better investor.
My parents taught me how to look for things for myself.
Tazama Mfahamu Kiongozi, ambapo kila kipindi kimejaa maarifa, mikakati na hadithi za kukuza azma yako.
For me to succeed, I have to fight.
Kila Alhamisi saa 1:30.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up.
President William Ruto has strongly come out to signal his intent of fully overseeing the implementation of the electronic government procurement system. Central in Ruto's argument is the systemic corruption he claims has befallen the manual procurement system.
Kuna watu wengi wamezoea kandarasi ya ukora. Kitu ya shilingi 2 tunanunua shilingi 10 kama serikali. Kwa sababu ya procurement ya ukora hapo, ya quotation na nini na nini. Tumesema tunaweka E-Procurement. Wacha ijulikane imenunuliwa pesa ngapi na imeuziwa serikali na nani? Na mbona mtu wa shilingi 2 hakupata hiyo kandarasi, mtu wa shilingi 10 alipata?
Last week, the National Assembly overturned Treasury CS John Mbadi's circular that made electronic procurement compulsory for ministries, state corporations and county governments. In their submission against the system, MPs cited several reasons, including lack of readiness, lack of proper infrastructure, and fears of transparency. Ruto now says he is aware of those plotting to block its implementation.
Mimi najua kuna resistance. Procurement officers, accounting officers, hawataki hiyo maneno kwa sababu wanataka kuendelea na ukora ya zamani.
And I will tell you, some people are making noise that the system is not working. But they don't even know how that system works. How can you say it is not working and you don't even know how it works?
The president claims that the same procurement officers have now resorted to blackmail.
Alafu ndio wanaandika headline, sijui Mbadi, sijui 5 billion, sijui nini. Nyinyi na ukora yenu na maheadline yenu na ufisadi yenu hamuwezi kutuzuia kuhakikisha ya kwamba pesa ya serikali inatumika inavyopaswa.
Governors have also come out guns blazing against the Treasury CS, accusing him of disregarding the National Assembly's directive on the e-procurement. Council of Governors Chair Ahmed Abdullahi is now threatening legal action.
Only 13 counties have been cleared by a controller of budget. So your counties cannot procure because you have not cleared with the controller of the budget. The ones that have cleared with controller of budget, by next week you should be ready.
There is no going back. Any official who is not ready to work with us in e-procurement, they can as well leave. Waondoke kwa serikali, waende watafute kazi nyingine. Peace.
And amidst the ongoing public uproar over the fraud at SHA, President Ruto now says all claims from the hospitals have to be reviewed, and only then can debts from the NHIF be repaid.
Why do we have 30 billion shillings deni ya NHIF leo? Na tukisema wacha tufanye verification ya hiyo debt ya 30 billion, mahospitali wanaenda kotini wanasema they don't want verification.
They have been stealing public funds. And when they are caught, they sponsor stories, negative ones, against the very people who are trying to clean up the mess.
And we are not going to pay until we verify, because we are not going to spend public money to pay corrupt people.
The stern proclamation by President Ruto over the implementation of the e-procurement system is likely to shape the discourse in this coming week and once again pit him against the National Assembly, which remains opposed to the system. Sydney Chazima for TV47.
All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47. My name is Fred Indimuli. This appears to be the biggest discussion this week. Governors have convened an emergency meeting today to discuss a stalemate over employing 7,414 medics and Treasury's electronic procurement system that has stalled county budgets. This morning, we're very much privileged to have with us Ahmed Mohamed Abdi, Deputy Governor of Wajir County. Karibu sana. And alongside him, we have Mesha Kodede, a political analyst. Karibuni. So definitely, there appears to be a big problem here. And as far as the system used in procurement, we're also aware that governors have also rejected another attempt by Treasury to impose an e-citizen-like revenue collection system for all counties. But one wonders, Bona Deputy Governor, what is the problem? Why are we slow in adopting technology? What is the big deal? Why are governors rejecting this? This should actually be seen as a progressive way of ensuring that checks and balances and with the proper footprints that are provided for by technology, that it's much easier to fight corruption through this.
Thanks, Fred, for having me. And in principle, commenting on the topic, in principle, the e-procurement system is a forward-thinking step towards modernizing Kenya's public procurement systems. And it's one of the global best practices that we can adapt locally here in Kenya as well. But that said, any system that ought to be introduced, that is introduced, must go through a certain level of public engagements. I think stakeholder engagement was not properly done in this case, as proved by the annulment by Parliament some 1 week or so about. And the haste with which this was done and has not augured well with the county governments. So what the county governors are saying, or the county governments are saying, is that, well, the system is okay, it is needed, it is forward-thinking, but can we do it progressively? I mean, can we do it in a more, with more engagements? Because this procurement system requires access to internet as well in many parts of the country, where rich in terms of internet is also one thing. Also, when a new system is being introduced, we must go through every check and balance that is required for meeting change management aspect of it. Because remember, there are cultures, the organizational cultures that have been going through without e-procurement. So to weed out that requires some kind of robust trainings, capacity building, and making sure that we don't hamper public service delivery. Counties now are facing that. We can't even, most of it can't, some of these things can't even be uploaded to the platforms required because of access issues. And that equally hampers service delivery at county levels. So we are saying, well, we don't object to it. We don't object to e-procurement. We in fact welcome it, but can we do it in a more, with more engagements, more training, capacity building done, so that even resistance is expected anyway. Resistance is expected. It's just normal. It's just human nature. That whenever change comes, then you must.
We are very slow to change.
Very slow to change. It's just normal. It's human nature. Okay. So can we just do it more in a more engaging manner, where more stakeholders are engaged? Okay. Can we have the necessary infrastructure to ensure that uploading of, and then does it also involve everybody, especially those in rural areas where internet access may be a problem? So we are not objecting to e-procurement per se. We in fact welcome it, but let's do it in a more robust, in a more engaging manner.
Meshach, listening to the Deputy Governor, yes, definitely there will be resistance to change. Yeah. But it's in the manner that we see. Is it something political, especially the fact that even members of parliament are reluctant to push this through? I know the president and the MPs have engaged in a push and pull for the past few weeks. Is that what is affecting this, that such a progressive idea? Because give it to him. If it's something progressive, probably it should be adopted. But what is the problem here? What is the main problem? Is it just an issue of the politics or the relationship between the president and these people, that everyone is slow to take up such a proposal?
Thank you, Fred. We have a very bad way of doing our politics as a country, and this is just one of those many times that we show that we don't really care about things like accountability, good governance, and all the rest. We care about ourselves a lot, and what we are seeing exhibiting right now is the tussle between the executive and parliament, because maybe the president said the things he said, and parliamentarians went ahead and said, you are throwing us under the bus, and so we will deal with you. So right now we should be expecting that anything that comes from the executive, however good for the country, we will see few elements of parliamentarians, especially members of parliament, trying to push back to show the president that they have power and they can dismantle some of the things he thinks he's building. Because at the end of the day, like my brother, the deputy governor, has said, everybody wants a progressive nation. Everybody wants to move with the current technology, because it also isn't the work, the kind of work. Fred, you can imagine the paperwork. I have seen some applications, for example, for Ministry of Roads, Kenya. One booklet is about 600 pages. And imagine, even if you are the procurement officer and your team, you want to go through each one of those pages manually. You know, on a computer, it's very easy because you can actually go to the exact page you want in a second. So what I think the country needs is definitely not the same as what the parliamentarians need. And even the executive, as they push the agenda, they have also made it look more political, because it is now us versus them. And we must do this and we will do this, whether they like it or not. And the other side is also coming with the same vigor. We must show the president that we are parliament, we are elected by the people, we are the representative. But the people are nowhere in this conversation. If you check clearly, you will find the people are nowhere. What I would have expected, as early, I'm not privy to whether this happened, when a deputy governor. I expected, because service delivery, county government are closer to the people and serves the people across the nation. I would have expected this discussion to have happened in the Council of Governors. And the governors probably had said earlier what the challenges are, and then together, combined effort from the national government and county government, they try to work on those challenges. And by now, when this is happening, I wouldn't have expected the governors to have an issue around this, even if the members of parliament would be having an issue or two about what they think.
Allow me to welcome Samuel Pogisio into this conversation. Samuel Pogisio served as a majority leader in the Senate in the 12th Parliament. He also served as a Minister for ICT. And this is a good conversation we're having now in the Kibaki II administration. Also a Senator for West Pokot and MP Kachiliba before that. Karibu sana Bwana Pogisio.
Thank you.
We are just discussing this e-procurement system that governors are rejecting, also has been rejected by the National Assembly. And one wonders, it is 2025, that should be the direction everyone is taking, that we adopt technology in our systems. Do you understand this resistance from county governors, the Council of Governors, and even members of Parliament, beyond the politics?
Fred, I don't think there's anything beyond politics. Everything here is politics in this country. The reason why it's introduced is politics. The reason why it's being rejected as well is politics. It's because this country is just political. Everything is politics. SHA is politics, everything. Corruption, as it's said, is also politics. It's possible to do digital work which is already corrupted. It's very easy to do that. And so it's not just the advantage of having a modern system, it's that it is all about trust. Can we trust this system? And this is what the governors are saying. Of course, you know, there's a whole issue of corruption happening everywhere, all the way to the level of the counties. I would like to support the digital systems in this country. I like to support that because I know they're faster, they're more effective, they create jobs for the younger people. But there's one reason that if we were consistent, if we were to be consistent in what we say, then the counties would believe us. You see, if you say, for example, that your money is coming on this date and it's going to come on that date. If you say your amount is coming as that amount, then it's easy to work around that. The issue that counties do have is the inconsistency that exists, that they have to wait sometimes until they have spent money which was not meant for certain purposes to just to keep everybody quiet. You know, those guys have doctors, they have nurses, they have people in the hospital system that need to be paid. Okay, they have also workers, and sometimes they cry. One of the toughest jobs I can say today is to be a governor of any state, of any of our counties, because if we kept our promise as a state and say, this is the revenue that you're getting, and it's going to be in your account as they promised, it would be easy then to say, okay, let's look now at the systems for working around it. Before that, it's not easy because you already have debts and debts. And how do you impute that into your system of e-government? it's going to be very difficult. So I do want to say it's what you call a catch-22 situation, where you don't know whether to start now, or first of all deal with the existing issues and then come and start afresh with the digital system or the e-procurement system. And there's a good reason also why members of parliament don't like it or have refused it. Although members of parliament are kind of controlled. You know, if today the honchos come and say you have to vote this way, they'll vote. This noise cannot continue forever, because if it's the way that parliament has been captured by the executive, they'll probably come and say yes. But we need to address the issues of the counties. Finances are supposed to follow functions, revenue, okay? Follow functions. And if they don't follow functions, then what are we introducing the digital form of procurement for? So, you know, so we got to accept that we have made a mistake in certain areas as a country. Let's first of all stop all the talk, okay? I think we should have a very nice meeting between the parliament, the county assemblies, the county governments, and the executive. Let's have a talk about these things. Let's see where we needed to stop, and then we start afresh. I mean, I believe that they mean well. I don't think the county government are just rejecting it. Everybody wants an easy way, but let's deal with the issues first. Come together. I think when the president is busy doing other things, he should come and say, Council of Governors, how do you want this to be done?
Okay.
What is it that you want to be done so that we can move together?
Okay.
Yeah.
But Deputy Governor, this speaks to some level of disconnect somewhere. Is it an issue of communication? Because there appears to be a trust deficit between the county governments and the national government. A system as progressive as this one looks, why would there be a disconnect in how it's rolled out? What is the problem that causes this mistrust between the two levels of government?
Thanks, Fred. We are discussing this when Q1 is ending. You know, the quarter one is the last month of quarter one is September. So you can imagine what we are talking about. And most of these procurement systems are not uploaded. From my reading, Treasury has blocked county governments from uploading their budgets on the former system, which is IFMIS. So what are we talking about here?
What does it mean when Treasury blocks county governments from uploading their budgets?
Treasury is bullish here. You know, county Treasury is supposed to be, you know, it's not exclusive to one arm of government. Treasury is supposed to be operate between the county governments and the national government. So you cannot have bullish system at the Treasury level. We must understand that here we are dealing with the public Kenyan people. Who are the key actors here for service delivery. So when we have quarter one ending, and we're still talking about uploading projects in systems, budgets in systems, then we are compromising service delivery. And we already have the National Assembly annulling this system. So there's room for Kenyans and Kenya as a whole to look into this. And as I said, this is a progressive system. We don't refuse, as former minister here has said, we want Kenyans to go digital way. We want our economy to go into every platform, digital platform that is there. But let's not rush things that maybe will hamper service delivery, will risk lives and living standards of our people. So we are saying, okay, fine, this thing has not been, if we are discussing this at the end of quarter one of a financial year, then something is not right. So can we use this financial year to correct whatever mistakes, whatever gaps that are there, so that maybe the subsequent financial year, we will have corrected every misgiving, and then move forward from there.
All right.
Yeah. But as these are governments anyway, we are all politicians, whether a governor or deputy governor or president or deputy. Parliamentarians are also politicians. So politics is involved in our daily life. We represent people at various cadres and levels.
Do you feel like the president is trying to load over the devolved units, like he is the main person to make the decision, and it's either his way or a highway?
I don't want to believe so. There are checks and balances. Not that the president can do what he wants to do. We have a new system in place, a new constitution in place. The presidency is not as it was before 2010. And so many things may not happen as you may wish. But let's really take the things from the point that e-procurement itself is not a bad idea, it's a good idea. But can we do it systematically while carrying everybody on board?
All right. Do you understand this disconnect in how even the president is communicating to the governors and saying, musipende itabidi ifanyike?
Yeah, I do, and I think I want to agree with the deputy governor here that there is a chance that the high voltage politics would not have gotten into this if we could have just agreed between the two levels of government and say, given the unique situation that county government finds themselves, especially the far-flanked and all that, maybe we can give the county government a year, for example, but national government begins immediately because most of their systems are concentrated at the capital. The ministries can actually begin full-time, maybe a part of judiciary, especially the procurements that are done at the head offices and distributed to the far-flanked. But county government could be given maybe a year or something like that to just make sure that, and the county government would work together with the national government to ensure that preparations are actually happening. Come that 1 year, they fully go into it. So it can be done in phases without necessarily having to make it a war where if it is done, you feel like you have won and other people have lost. Or if it is not done, then members of parliament or county government feel like they have won against the president, because that is not what we look for. I only disagree with the president on one part. When the president says, why would we buy, would government buy a pen of 10 shillings at 100 or vice versa or whatever? I don't think us as a country moving into e-procurement is going to cure that 100%, because from where I sit as a common Kenyan, I will still sell the pen, just like what Honorable Pogisho had mentioned here. If government does not take their word and action it within the given time, for example, if government says, I supply this pen and I will be paid within 1 month. If I am not paid within 1 month, it's another thing on me, because what were biashara, they go for borrowing, they go to the banks, they take, and sometimes you realize I am selling this pen which cost 10 shillings out there at 100 shillings because I'll be paid even 1 year later. And sometimes here, the county government is even worse now. Talk about that with county government, because, like he says, we are ending Q1, or the Q1 is almost ending, and they have not even uploaded anything. So imagine the people who are waiting for all these monies will have to. So sometimes people don't sell to government expensively because they necessarily want to be corrupt. It is simply because I know I am selling this pen, but I am not sure when I will be paid. Right. So for me to be safe and remain in business, I will put a price that even if you go for a whole year, I will still find a way to remain in business. So when the president says this is only going to cure it, it isn't going to cure it direct.
All right.
If the government will say whatever is procured will be paid within a span of this period, then it will cure a lot of things.
Right. So governors have convened an emergency meeting to discuss this issue. The directive by the Ministry of Health, one, for counties to absorb the universal health coverage UHC medics beginning today without providing 7.7 billion shillings for their remuneration. And also the proposed decree by the National Treasury for all public tenders to be processed in the e-government procurement system, which has already been rejected by the National Assembly. Let's take a short break. We'll be back. You're watching Morning Cafe.
Our world is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's minds. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth, as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you, probably will be there about 5 to 10 years.
The eye is the window to the rest of the body.
Don't forget to stay hydrated.
And of course, you at home do take your water.
So the ultimate test is actually you check your urine. Your urine should be clear.
Clear like the water?
Yes. Should be able to see the other side of the urine. If your urine is colored or has changed color, you cannot see the other side, then you have not taken enough water.
Don't forget regular health checkups. Early detection saves lives.
I want the message be, we can prevent cervical cancer. We prevent cervical cancer in several ways. You have young girls and even somebody who's above that age, you can pay at least every 3 years. Somebody should have a pap smear done.
If you are 40, 45, 50 going upwards, once a year, please go see a doctor. Yeah, it's just for normal routine maintenance.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join.
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV 47 with me, Fred Indimuli. We continue looking at the headlines this morning. One of the biggest discussions is the reluctance or the slow take-up of the E-Procurement system that the central government is insisting that this should be the way forward, but county governments and even members of parliament are reluctant to take it up. And Bonapogisio, my issue now is about the MPs and how probably they're using the legislative process to settle scores with the president. And you've served as a leader of majority in the Senate. And what risks are there when now the Houses of Parliament decide that their role and their legislative process will be used to hit back at the president or the executive for that matter?
You know, Fred, and this is very, very, very scary actually, that just because you have the advantage of legislation doesn't give you the ticket to try and use that position to get back at the president. At one time I said, this house can never get back to the president legitimately. Because a captured house, it's a house that the president has sustained for all this 2 years or 3 years. On his, whatever he's giving them, sustained. It's the president who determined, for example, who becomes the majority leader. It's the president who determines who becomes chairman of committee, especially on the majority side. So how can you then, unless you get out, like of course the team that got out from UDA. Those you can say for sure. The rest, I don't think they can. In any case, what is the beef here? Let's look at it. What's the beef? The beef here is that he called us corrupt. So why are you fighting if you're not corrupt? You know, it's actually common knowledge that members of parliament are sustained. And this is not the first time. It started a long time ago. I remember even when we were under President Moi, those days, members of parliament were actually sustained. But that was for another reason. I mean, our salaries were very low. These guys have no reason at all. They have very, very high salaries. They get allowances. They get car loans. They get everything. There's no reason why you should be corrupt in this parliament. There's no reason why you should even steal in this parliament, because you have enough resources. And you could just survive on that resource. But now, look, the president is waking up and saying, I want to fight corruption. And everybody wants to believe that the president actually wants to fight corruption. And for him to fight corruption, jumping onto this house called Parliament, before he deals with his own house, which is called the executive, that's where the beef is. If you want us to change fast, isn't that what they're saying? And before you even jump onto the judiciary. So there are three houses of government, as we may call it. They call them arms. But actually, let's give an example. Let's say there are three houses of a government. It's like a polygamous family. Three houses under the same system. If one place changes, the rest must change. You know, otherwise there's no point. So the three arms of government must change. And it's not the executive which is going to drive it. Okay? Because unless everybody agrees, every house agrees that we are not going to change. Even if the president changes, and like he says, he's seen the light, okay? It's what you call the Damascus moment. He's seen the light. But everybody must see that light. Mm-hmm. You can't see the light and start thinking that you can go to the county governments now. Everybody must see that. This is a systemic problem in this country that we must fight in a different way, not condemning one house. I mean, it's very difficult for you to say all members of parliament are corrupt. I mean, you know who is corrupt. You know, Fred, one of the things that I've said is that the president himself said he is a consumer of raw intelligence. Yeah. So does that start now? It started when he became president. Mm-hmm. Then he knows exactly, the president knows exactly who is corrupt in this country. He has the names, he has the corruption case itself, he has everything. If you consume intelligence, you know exactly what it is. So what the members of parliament are saying, please tell us who it is, arrest the people, and we move on from there, not everybody. So the fear is, why are you condemning the whole house? I'm telling you, I've said before, all governors are corrupt. How would I qualify that? But I can only say that because I assume so. But the president would know which governor is corrupt.
All right.
Because he consumes raw intelligence, which I don't have. So allow me to claim, but the president must be specific. And I think he has said it. By the way, I want to trust that President Ruto is going to fight this corruption. Mm-hmm. I want to trust. Because he knows everything. He knows everyone. He knows exactly who is corrupt. He knows what amounts have been consumed. I was watching the impeachment process in Senate the other day. And it's very interesting, the technicality that you can escape as a corrupt person. So you use technicality, so you escape. But does that make you innocent? No. So I'm suspecting that EACC will now come in, wherever NIS, whoever else can come in and say, okay, you may have jumped Senate, but this is your issue. Because they have all the information.
All right.
So why are you allowing some common human beings, some people who are lay people in this intelligence and so on, to make a judgment, and then the fellow cannot be free? Mm-hmm. Does he go free because he escaped Senate? Or he goes free because he's not corrupt?
Yes.
So I do think that, so the beef between Parliament and the presidency is a very small issue. very small issue. They just need to agree that we are all corrupt. Deal with our house first, secondly this house, and thirdly that house, so that we can all go together. Otherwise, I mean, we are as a country, we have a systemic problem that will never end, because corruption is budgeted corruption. Yes. It is in our budget.
Mm-hmm. And probably that's what this e-procurement system is meant to cure. That, and this has been the criticism towards the evolution. Last week we were marking 15 years of the Constitution, 12 years of devolution since we got the devolved systems. That corruption was simply devolved, and it's a way of life. That in Wajir, you know that this government and this system, this is how it works, and this is how people benefit directly. And that is a problem that we seem to want to cure, but politically it does not work for us. If you go to the Senate, and as far as impeachment is concerned, you can manipulate one or two people and you escape. And that we are not able to capture that monster called corruption. Do you agree that even the devolved systems are actually the biggest homes of corruption?
No, Fred, I disagree. I disagree because what are we talking about here? What are the budgets of county governments? We're talking about 10% of current running budgets. So while I cannot rule out corruption at counties, and I can't brush every governor or every county government with the same brush, it's a fact that we are facing a problem of corruption in Kenya. But what are the levels here? County governments get about 10% of running budgets. 10%, because what we got this financial year is 415 billion out of almost 4 trillion shillings. Mm-hmm. So relatively, 70% or thereabout of that budget going out to counties services recurrent budgets. And we have very slim budgets for development, where maybe corruption can happen. So while corruption can be there in every level of government, it surely may not be the case. I mean, it may not be, the magnitude is less at the county levels than it could be at national level. Because what are the budgets you're talking about? You can only corrupt things when the budget is there. If it's less, then it is more where their budgets are high. So, but that said, I will welcome the tone at the top by President Ruto to fight corruption. And when a president comes out, like President Uhuru at some point, before his term ended, came out saying that we lose about 2 billion shillings a day. As a president, any word you say is taken with a lot of weight. So if that is true, and I don't want to disbelieve what he said, then we are losing a lot of money through corruption. But Kenyans have been gaslighted to believe that corruption heavily happens at the county levels. It may not be the case. It's certainly not the case because budgets are much less at county levels than they are at national level. But because of vulnerabilities of county governors, governors have been dragged to all these regulatory bodies and institutions like EACC and DCI and all these kind of things. The public sees governors being questioned every other time. If it's not Parliament, it is EACC. If it's not EACC, it's DCI. So this is what public sees. And politically, it works for the national government to put focus on county governments. So while politics is at play, I want Kenya and Kenyans and leaders, for that matter, to come down to our senses. First, accept that there's a problem here. And then how do we bail the cat? How do we tame corruption? It happens in every level, but much less at county level, so I believe.
Do you agree with the Deputy Governor that we are being a bit too critical of the devolved units, that probably the focus that was there on the national government in as far as corruption is concerned, that is where we should focus more, that we're just being a bit too critical of governors?
We have to be a bit too critical of the county government and governors because they are the closest to us as the people. You know, when devolution was brought, the same way we voted in and were happy to receive these new structures and believe that now we have the government near us. So the nearer it is, the more critical it is to us as the people. And I think that is the advantage that maybe national government is taking. Once they gaslight a little, we all rise up in arms, because this is the person, MCAs are the people we interact with every day. Governor is the person who is in funerals around villages every day. And so it is just going to happen like that, whether we like it or not, because you are closest. One thing I think national government is still not getting right is this government was founded with a lot of talks. And I don't think those talks have stopped. The actions have not started. They are still talking too much, if you ask me. Because I don't see the value in somebody like Honorable Duale, the CS of Health, telling us the number of hospitals he has closed because of irregularities in the SHA funds and all that. And when there is a pushback, you come to continue talking, telling us it is because I have closed their hospitals. They were the ones minting money from SHA. But we are not seeing any arrest. We are not seeing, I mean, the EACC is not confirming any of those things you're saying to us. Because what I want to hear from Honorable Duale, for example, is our files are already with EACC based on the hospitals that were closed, and the arrests are happening on the other side. So as much as we are doing this, we're doing our work, and we have given other institutions opportunity to do their work as well. Mine was to close these 2, 3, or 4 hospitals, and these hospitals are actually registered by government. So we know this hospital belongs to Bwana Meshach, and we have given all our files to the EACC, and so EACC will do their work. So Kenyans face EACC if they fail to do their work as we have done our work. So I think that is more important than coming to trade exchange and telling us they are actually planning for my impeachment because I have closed their hospitals. Then what? Because we don't just want to end up with you closing the hospitals. Mm-hmm. We want to see that what has been recovered, and there is an institution that should actually do that. So I still think there is too much talking and the actions are actually halfway or less.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to corruption, and you look at the dailies today, and one of the CSs mentioned there, CS Duale, on the issue of SHA. It's the president's pronouncements vis-a-vis the action that Kenyans do expect. And the Standard captures this. They say this, unmoved by outcry. So, and they talk about the friendship that the president has with these 3 gentlemen. But if we may focus on what we are seeing on SHA, with the level of corruption, with the kind of admission that we are seeing from the CS himself and the ministry officials, that yes, there was an attempt to actually defraud the government of 10 billion shillings, meaning that money was actually lost. Yet, with this president, we are not seeing any action in as far as cracking down on the people closest to him. By that I mean members of the cabinet. We've seen, and you've served in the cabinet, Bwana Pogisio. And we saw even when Uhuru Kenyatta was president, he fired a number of ministers, a number of CSs when it came to corruption. Do you see any kind of commitment? Do you feel any kind of commitment by this president in as far as cracking the whip beyond the hot air that he talks?
Yeah, Fred, it's very difficult for the president to fire these people, these 3, because I think there must have been some kind of commitment from the very beginning. You've seen how these 3 have moved around musical chairs. When everybody else was released, these ones came back, and they're there as it looks like this is the support system that the president needs to be in his office or whatever to run the country. However, with all the weaknesses that they are showing, okay, they're protected. These ones are ring-fenced. Everybody else can leave, but these ones are ring-fenced. And so the country is saying, who are they? Why are they ring-fenced? And all of them, except I haven't heard very much from Chirchir, but the others have been going around the country trying to talk about, what they do more of speech. Let me tell you, one of the weakest points today is if these guys are stagnated at all the politics, thinking that by going around and talking, that they will be able to convince people and let them forget the real issues that they have. There is too much competition for our minds. There's very little space left for those kind of things. Because look at the young people. Do you think they'll be listening to this, or they're already busy with their phones, with whatever is content in the phones? They're trying to create content, they're busy. So who's going to listen to you when you say that I have closed hospitals? And I like the way the challenge came, that how do you close what does not exist, okay? Because I closed hospitals. Instead of saying probably I have deregistered so and so, the doctors concerned, they still have licenses. You haven't said what you've done to those licenses, okay? What are those licenses doing? They'll just move from this unit, they've left this, go to another one, isn't it? And go on the same. So why are we suspicious? We're suspicious because it doesn't look like these three who are here, and I think there are many others, but these three particularly are protected. And so on. Why? Is there corruption happening in their dockets? These are some of the most difficult dockets to deal with. Roads and infrastructure dockets are very difficult. A lot of corruption there. This health, as you remember, we used to call it mafia house. It's very difficult. And Mr. Duale should just concentrate on sorting out the issues of health instead of going into politics. He's spending a lot of time doing politics. But there's so much trouble in the health department. Murkomen has his own problems with security, but he's busy also just lecturing everybody every day on the road. So I think the biggest question that everybody is asking is, Mr. President, are you able to remove the log, which is in your eye, which is this tree? Are you able to remove it? Are you not condemning a speck in Parliament, a speck in the county assemblies, a speck everywhere? What about the log that's very close to you? You know, we've seen how all these guys have manifested wealth, for example, how wealthy they are. They've shown it. So the only way that the president can do these things is by the way to try and tell his closest friends, I am now done with you guys. I've decided I'm going to fight.
Do you think he can do that? Do you think he has the ability right now, or he's too captured by probably some of the deals he made?
It is the only way. It's for him to come and say, now I have decided I'm no longer Saul, I'm Paul. And I'm going to fight this corruption. And I'm going to start from my own house and remove this so-called log, which is in my eye. So that's what I think that's going to happen.
Well, Governor, there's definitely a lot of finger pointing when it comes to corruption. Do you feel like the president, in him pointing out the county governments, pointing out at the parliament, is simply trying to deflect from the obvious rot in his house?
The president is a politician first before he became a president. So I will believe he will do some politics while still executing his work. But it's a fact that we have a problem. And I want to believe in what he says, that he wants to fight corruption, which is very much welcome. But even basic calculation will tell you, as I said this, and I agree with my colleague here, that our proximity to the public is so near that it is us who are on the limelight, the county government on the limelight most of the time, because the public have access to governors, MCAs, most of the time, then they can probably have access to the executive at national level, or even the parliamentarians at national level. While corruption is there in the country, and we want to believe in the new push by the president, we need to look at the numbers. As I said before, 10% of a running budget against 90%, I mean, if corruption was to happen, then the magnitude will definitely be higher.
But should we excuse the county governments simply because they get only 10%?
I'm not saying there is no corruption at county level. But what is the magnitude? Could it happen more at where there is 90% or more where there is 10%? Remember, we have Of course, there are challenges. The county governments are there for the last 12 years. We have teething challenges. This is a new system in place. We cannot brush every county government with the same brush. There are those who are doing well. There are those who may not be doing well. So just as we say, not all parliamentarians are corrupt. It will be wrong to rub them all, as Honorable here has said. We are not saying it's not there, and we can't say everybody is corrupt as well. Let's use the institutions that are in place, mandated to find out where there is corruption, and capitalize on them. And I agree with Honorable Pokiso here. Where there is, for example, these child issues, if 1,000 facilities were closed and money was paid to them, or even not paid to them, but attempts to get money from the public in a fraudulent manner was made, then let's see a step further than that, and let's see prosecution processes and arrests going further. Otherwise, then it will be a lot of talk with not much doing. Okay. So there is a problem, but I'm just saying the magnitude is much higher at national level.
But are we having, even as a country, a genuine conversation about corruption, Bonodede? Because we make a lot of noise, and corruption has been there for the longest time. We make a lot of noise, and do you feel the genuineness in anyone, not just the president, even as Kenyans, in having this conversation about corruption?
No, we're not, because we want to make corruption an issue of the leaders, and the people are not accounting for any of their actions. One, we elect people who are likely to be corrupt, knowingly, with our eyes wide open, knowing, because by the time they are in the campaign and you are getting all the favors, you are being bribed, your money is flying left, right, and center. Those times we behave, Kenyans, the electorates behave like someone, a girl in love. You can't advise them. Whatever advice you bring does not work. So by the time they get into the office, when they start, we divide ourselves. There are people who we belong to Governor so-and-so, or we belong to Mheshimiwa so-and-so. So whatever happens, we don't see evil, we don't hear any evil from them. Ours is to just protect. Even as we speak here today, there are people who do not want to hear anything about certain leaders. So if you touch that, the conversation ends. So I think the problem is still much on our end as the people. We have not shown that we hate corruption. We do not like corruption whatsoever. County government, for example, I looked at, I think that was last year, the Auditor General's report, where one of the counties from Nyanza, where I come from, had the governor had around 890 plus million for local travels. When you when you put together 3 other counties from the Luo Nation, was totaling to around 600 plus million for the 3 counties in terms of governors' local travel. But one county has 890. So I ask someday that we are taking this war to the wrong corner, because the governor does not allocate money for travels for himself. Let us go to the county assembly and ask the majority leader, the minority leader, and members of the county assembly, did you allocate your governor 890 million to travel within? Because if they say yes, it is not a problem of the governor. Even if I was the governor and I have been given 1 billion to travel, I will travel. I will travel. As long as I have not taken 1 shilling above what was allocated to me by the House. So sometimes you realize when an Auditor General report like that comes out, we run to fight with the governor, that the governor has done this, and we forget about the MCA who probably is my friend, and we are pushing towards the governor's side. So sometimes we also take this fight the wrong direction. We really need to check Parliament, because if Parliament decides that they are going to do proper oversight, Fred, there will be a lot of change. But we are pegging the whole fight against corruption to the president as an individual. It is never going to happen. Some of these things are actually in the law, and they have been given those budgets by the parliament. Can parliament tell us what oversight they have done, and result of those oversight has ended up either with EACC, and you can't find that, including the Public Accounts Committee. I mean, people even fight to be made Public Accounts Committee because that is your way out of poverty. Once you find ministry this with an issue, you probably find a way of getting, because I've never seen a report, a result from oversight from parliament that has ended with judiciary or people in jail. All we see is them inviting governors, grill them, ask questions that look like they are tough on them, then it ends there. So we only expect the president to do the rest of the work. We need the president to do the rest of the work. We need parliament to also do. We need MCAs to do as well. But even MCAs, they only need something, and if you don't give them, the impeachment motion is coming. And finally, all the impeachments we've seen in this country since devolution came, they are just three things: abuse of office, what. They are just three things, and it is repeated Does these other things not happen? That is the easiest way for them. And I understand the MCAs of Nairobi are also preparing.
Yes, there's a motion.
For us, another movie.
But if we look at, because last week we were taking stock of the Constitution, 15 years on, and we hoped that this document would ideally help us as a nation to fight some of these vices that we are not able, because culturally probably we've accepted corruption. But where are we failing, Bwana Pogisio? That even with the new Constitution, it does not appear in any way to help us towards the ideal place that we wanted to be as a nation.
Fred, we begin with our election process. And corruption starts from the day we announce elections are coming this year, for example, next year, or is it in 2027? You ask yourself how much a candidate for governor spends to become governor. It's anywhere from 100 million to 500 million. Now, when we allow that to happen, that somebody's spending, he has to raise money from people, from friends and everything. And so the first thing he does is to see, how do I refund back this money? The same thing with the president. To run for president in this country, I mean, I'd like to run for president. But I'm imagining, the guys who have trillions or billions will definitely, carry the day because they have so much money to give. What happens after you finish the election process? How does the governor pay back? How does the Senate or whatever? Actually, the Senate doesn't have money, but the guys in National Assembly, for example, CDF money is theirs for the taking. The reason we start is it must go back to the community and say, people, can we just get the right people to these leadership positions? But you just can't do that because people want. The final day of voting, which I participated so many times, the final day of voting, you can be the best candidate today, but on the final day, guys just change money, and very soon you find out that guy has been elected. How is that corruption going to end? How is the corruption going to end? If the leaders we've elected paid you, the voters, to get to those positions. So a new governor comes in, the first thing he does is, how do I pay back my debt? Jobs, programs, projects, and things like that. So we cannot, this is a systemic problem that we must deal with, not under this. The Constitution itself is written very well. We have a very, very progressive Constitution in this country. In fact, we didn't even need to make laws, for example, on these corruptions, because the Constitution already provides for it. All we have to do is simply say, Chapter 6, for example, of our constitution, it's very clear what is a good law for state officers and even ourselves, all of us. So we must realize that our constitution as a document is very progressive, but how do we implement it? I'm very convinced in my heart that the President, William Ruto, has reached a point in his life when he says, now enough is enough. I must fight corruption. But he doesn't have the tools. He doesn't have the right support for that.
And the Constitution is not enough to aid him in that?
No, he has the legal everything. But now to deal with the people, you know, it is to
deal with his own people.
To deal with the people who are very close to him is a very difficult thing. And okay, now he has been joined by Raila Odinga as a broad-based government. And I expected actually that these experts who have been given from ODM, for example, would be the ones to bring change and think differently. I don't know if they're doing that. I think they've been entrapped into the same, you know, largesse, you know, into this money issue. I tell you, when I hear, you know, and now I look at all of them, I hear, you know, Mbadi speak, I hear Wandai speak, and I hear people who are comfortable. They have already arrived. This is the problem. My problem is people who have already arrived. Their life changed completely. You know, I was a minister for 5 years. At no time, I can tell you this, no time did I use public money to go to a chopper, to chopper myself to places. This country is not very big. This country, you can actually fly commercial, you can drive every part of this country. In fact, very soon with the roads being made, you can even drive to Mandera. Because, I mean, you don't have, so where did you get the money? Maybe $2,000 every day or $3,000 every day to fly choppers. I think the first thing Ruto should do, President Ruto should do, is stop this business of excessive spending of money. If you're going to Kisumu, fly commercial to Kisumu and drive to the rest of your journey. There are airports everywhere now. What, you know, how did we budget for that even? How did we budget for it? How did we put it in our budget? Majority leader in the Senate flies choppers every weekend. Where did we get that money? How do you have that? Where's that money coming from? And we're saying that we have no money in this country. Let's be prudent. So I want to think the Constitution is safe. The Constitution is strong. Implementing the Constitution, making sure that we are reasonable, common sense. Common sense means you don't invite people. If it is true, by the way, that the president invited people to State House, and that those people are getting 10,000 shillings each. If it is true, I want the president to tell the president that please stop that. What are you telling the country?
All right.
Those of us who don't go to State House, we're going to watch from the sidelines.
We'll get ours better.
You know? So let's begin to. This is the common sense about fighting corruption. Fighting corruption is not rhetoric. Fighting corruption is acting. Who have you arrested? You have the names, you have the issues. Nobody has been arrested. So why are we talking? What are we discussing?
But listening to the Deputy Governor, you seem to want to excuse the counties because it's only 10% of the budget.
I wanted to mention this one to the Deputy Governor. And I think that argument, by the way, that it is small, is even worse.
415 billion shillings is a lot of money.
No, not even that. It's even worse than the big one. Because if the amount is 3 billion and you steal 1 billion, that's the percentage-wise. Or you waste 1 billion out of 3. percentage-wise, this is actually worse. So the argument of saying it's small does not hold water.
I'm not excusing anyone, whether it's county government or any government for that matter. I'm only saying these things happen at both levels of governments. You know, we have 48 governments in one. And, but that said, it does happen in every level. But we can't brush, what I'm saying is we can't brush all county governments with one brush. There are those who could be corrupt, and there are institutions to find out if the corruption is there and let the governments and there be consequences. One of the major problems in Kenya is there is no consequences for doing anything. You could easily run away with murder. And even the consequences, there is no consistency in those consequences. These are some of the challenges. The consequences could be few and far between, but they're not even consistent. So let the institutions of governance do their work. If it is ESCC or DCI or any other institution for that matter, do it. But let's not just sit back and say there are corruption happening in Kenya. And these things start with the tone at the top, as I said. I would wish President Ruto to push these things to the end. If it is any government that is doing any form of corruption, let there be consequences, and the consequences be consistent as well. But I want to put another aspect to these things as well. We as Kenyans also, you know, we don't suffer from dearth or shortage of policies, laws, and legislative issues. This has to do with values as well. What we as Kenyans hold dear, what are our values? For example, if it is a clinic somewhere which has done, as the president said some times back, 10 or 20 operations for Fred's leg or arm from the same institution, that's the same clinic, and for the same person, Fred, then beside the consequences, it speaks volumes about the values of us as Kenyans. What do we hold dear? It's not just about punishing people. Why don't we also, as Kenyans, see? Secondly, leaders are a reflection of our society. You know, we elect those who are amongst us.
The cream.
So it has to do with us as Kenyans as well, and see, we need to do some introspection and deep reflection on what we hold dear as Kenyans, so that we can be able to stem some of these.
But we were hoping that the Constitution would do that for us, that probably with a better document, that would help guide even our behavior.
This is what I said.
15 years later?
This is what I said. Constitution is a document. It's a policy document. It's a law by itself. But it is the values that drive. Two things, the values of us as Kenyans and the consequences for not meeting certain expectations of the public. Thirdly, the consistency of that consequence is also very important. These three layers of considerations must happen in Kenya going forward.
Right. Independent offices, independent commissions, all these have failed 15 years later. The president appears to, in his formation of a multi-agency task force. It's more or less like an admission that individually these offices and institutions have failed.
Yes, Fred. These offices, especially the commission, which was supposed to be independent with it. Every other time when you ask an institution in Kenya why they have not completed their mandate as expected, they first run to money. You are likely to get this result, 100%, you're likely to get this idea that they will tell you, we are short of budget. If you ask the police why they have not reached the expectations of Kenyans, they will say, our budget. If you ask ESCC, our budget. So everybody just seems to be concerned that it is only money that can help them do this. But Fred, just as an example, you have corruption in our institutions, including the learning institutions. For example, you will get a secondary school with a population of 4,000 young people learning. And they are told every time they are coming with the so-called remedial, for example. 4,000 people by 1,000 is 4 million. Where do these teachers take 4 million every time? And we don't think that is corruption in any way. We actually want the president to fight corruption. Can the president come to that level? And when the parents gather on the Parents' Day, no parents seem to be concerned about such things. Everybody seems to be thinking that education is a very important thing in the life of our children. And if you are 2 or 3 parents who raises your hands and say, this is too much, you are seen to be opposing education for your children. So we cough 4 million, 2 million, 3 million as parents. In as much as we are talking about education is free in this country, government capitation and blah, blah. So we are just a corrupt team, but because somebody has been given more responsibility and more privileges, now we are able to think that ministers are corrupt, governors are corrupt, president is corrupt, but Kenyans are good. Mm-hmm. It is Kenyans who want shortcut every other time. We go to these offices and Kenyans say, is there anything we can do to fast track this? If you say my passport is actually should be renewed, I will wait as a Kenyan until I have a safari next month and I actually want it done now. And so I am calling friends, do you have someone who can do this for me? And we don't think those are corruption. We actually think it is the president who is corrupt. It is the members of parliament who are corrupt. It is the governors. I think Kenyans just need to understand when it is corruption, even the smallest bit is still corruption. The way we are on the road and you realize Makanga is already putting the 50 bob ready because in the next corner there is a cope. And he's already putting it ready. So even before, you can't say, yes, the COP will want that. But the COP has not even asked yet. And we just go and they drop and we drive away. And the COP is remaining. So I think when we talk matters corruption, we need to really start. When Kibaki got into power, I had already turned 18 and I had an ID. We realized that the people came out so much to detest corruption and the people themselves even made politicians wonder what is going on in this country. This is how much the people hate corruption. And we saw some little progress. The people changed. We went back to the default settings. So,
yet with the new constitution, the expectation was that we were, even as a people, we were changing our ways.
Yes.
What happened? Because, as you said, when Kibaki came into power, there was an optimism about how we're going to change even our bad manners.
Yeah, you see, Fred, the constitution was supposed to be that great, but we manipulated. The constitution that was discussed by every Kenyan in Bomas was not the constitution we ended up passing later in 2010. You remember that constitution that every Kenyan gave their thought around was manipulated by the team Kibaki sent to Kilifi, led by Amos Wako, the Kilifi draft, the Wako draft, and was shot down again in 2005, which gave birth to ODM. And now by the time we were having the constitution 2010, it was a political negotiation. It was not really the constitution that we discussed as a whole country. That is the constitution that would have given us much because the hopes of Kenyans were really fully on it. By the time Kibaki sent Wako and the team to Kilifi, they are coming back. Faction of the parliamentarians and politicians had already said no, and we ended up with a negotiated thing in Naivasha in the name of a new constitution. It was just now illusion in our head that we started the constitution in Bomas, but just a few pieces in it that originated from Bomas. By the time it was being voted by Kenyans, it was a whole new thing, and Honorable Pogisho here would give me a witness on that.
Even as you make your final comments, because now I can see we're about 9 minutes or so as you make your final comments, the hope was that because there were so many systemic cultural issues that we needed to remedy, there are fundamental problems with this country, and you are hoping that with the new constitution, that would remedy a lot of that. But it would appear that 15 years on, we still have bigger problems, and the constitution has not been the panacea. Now, okay, so where do we turn to, Bwana Pogisio? In a situation like this, our leadership has failed, our politicians have failed, the Kenyans appear very lethargic to every discussion we have, and the constitution is not fixing the problem. So where do we go?
And I want to agree that our constitution could address issues, but the constitution is not being broken down to Kenyans to understand what we're talking about, because the constitution is an elitist thing. Kenyans are not able to break down that to the levels where a common Mwananchi understands the constitution. You know, in the United States, they make it so clear, so simple, that the amendments are known by everybody. It's this amendment, First Amendment, Second Amendment, and those are the things that you make sure that we understand. Because, I mean, we wrote the Constitution. I was a delegate at Bomas. But what we got in the end produced things like the Senate, an empty Senate. It's a Senate with nothing. And yet the Senate was supposed to be like the upper house in Parliament. But when they went there, they decided, no, the Senate must just become something to represent the devolved units. Nothing more. So that's what I see former Prime Minister trying to come back to. And the former Prime Minister is saying, we need to go back to a discussion on the Constitution. We probably need a referendum very soon to deal with the issues that are not coming out very well. The issues of the bodies, for example, we have all these bodies that we create. Every day you see appointments being made. So-and-so chairman of this chairman, and those things don't produce anything for this country. So we need to look at all those things. What is important for us as a country is to develop a culture. Some countries, I don't want to name them here, corruption is so hated. So if Fred is mentioned in a corruption case, the easiest way for you, Fred, is to go and commit suicide. Because you will not enter any supermarket to shop. You can't walk the streets. Everybody looking at you, they will say, that's a corrupt guy. And so you end up finding this guys either resigning or even going to take their own lives. Because corruption is abhorred. This corruption is detested. If we reach a point in our country where we can actually reject corruption, and I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to this president, I'm saying, if there's anybody who should actually fight corruption and succeed in his three years left, it's President Ruto. And I'm appealing to him to say, this is the turning point in this country, and you have a chance. You may be rejected by other people, you know, all these shouts about him and so on, but he should redeem himself by standing firm on what he has said. I heard him yesterday in church saying, I'm going to fight this corruption and I'm not going to relent. And I really want the president to come out as his legacy that he fought corruption successfully where others have failed. Right. And I think this is a moment for him to do that. In this country today, it is the people sitting not far from the president, okay? I mean, there's no need even to investigate. I'm telling you that for sure. It's the people very close, not far from the president, who have earned millions from proceeds that you cannot explain. Let him start there. Let him. What this parliament is talking about, there are some people who are very corrupt there, and he knows them. The judiciary, he knows all those guys. So I want to give this country an opportunity as a citizen that I am. Let's discuss our constitution. Let's review where we have gone wrong. Let's deal with corruption. It's all of us. Let's not name anybody. It's all of us. It's the citizen
It is a culture.
It is a culture that must change.
All right.
And the culture is not easy to change until we all agree. This is where we are going, and we must put that in our constitution, in our laws, and everybody be taught this is wrong. The problem with culture is that if you don't know it's wrong, you think it's right. And we've lived all this life, and there are many examples we can give. So I want to say this, Fred. We as a country must discuss honestly where we are going next. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Pogisho. A final word.
Thank you, Fred. And I agree with that. And as I said shortly before, that it boils eventually down to values, and we can't legislate values. It's difficult to legislate values. We could have a very beautiful constitution, one of the most progressive, it's said. We have an abundance of laws and other forms of legislation, but eventually everything boils down to our values as a community, as a country, as a nation. So we probably need to re-engineer the country and reboot. Some kind of rebooting needs to be done to inculcate the needful values from the grassroots, from at our basics learning institutions, from KG, primary, all the way up, such that we need to inculcate that culture of abhorring and corruption in all its forms. If you can get the values right, everything else will fall into place. Secondly, we need to strengthen our institutions such that consequences do happen, and they're also consistent, and they're also deterrent to ensure that these things do not happen again and again and again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana David Gumana. Finally, Bwana Odede.
Thank you, Fred. I think there is also a problem with democracy as it is. Democracy has got its wrong side, which often we don't want to talk about because it gives no one full responsibility of anything, especially when we have a constitution like ours, because anybody runs to court on anything. And right now, we are between a hard place and a rock, because even, I have said this several times, even when I know this phone I stole from you, you cannot come take this phone to court without the court giving you access to where I have kept it. You will have to go to court first, and court gives you authority to come and search my house. And by the time you are in court, I already know what the court will say, and the authority will be given. Am I that foolish to just keep the phone there for you to come and get and take me to court with? So the whole thing is still part of democracy. We have to go with the rule of law. So it becomes a bit difficult. Look at the constitution we have. It gave us public participation, meaning closer to the people. Governance is now with the people. But the parliamentarians have not even been able to do proper legislation on that to set the threshold of public participation. So we have a very facade thing called public participation, but we can't judge whether it was public participation that we have in our mind. Or so they just say, on this Thursday, there will be public participation. Whoever wants, then they take pictures, and we say there was public participation. And who spoke? And nothing, there is nothing about it. So we ended up with even women's rights, trying to bring the gender, but up to now, we can't even go to that parliament and pass the 2/3 gender rule. But we brought it in the constitution. It looked great because those are the gains we talked about. Oh, this constitution has given us gender this. But now going to legislate and come up with the 2/3, 15 years later, we can't. So I think it is time, like Raila has said, we need to go back and check 15 years later, what has worked, what has not worked. If anything does not work, we discard, remain with what is working. What do we need to improve on what is working, and things like that.
All right. It's a fresh new month. The discussions continue. 15 years of the Katiba 2010. Corruption still remains a big discussion. Incidentally, also marking 1 year since the broad-based arrangement started, and it's been captured there on the front page of the Standard. Whether it's a good thing, a positive thing or not, the jury is still out there. The headlines this morning, unmoved by outcry, that's the front page of the Standard. Ghosts Paradise, still corruption, front page of the Daily Nation. E-Citizen platform, 11 billion shillings missing amid ownership mystery, more corruption. Those are the headlines this morning. Thank you so much Samuel Pugisio, who served as cabinet minister in the Kibaki II administration and also as leader of the majority in the Senate, 12th Parliament. Mesha Kodede, political commentator, and Ahmed Mohamed Abdi, deputy governor of Wajir County. Asanteni sana for your time at TV47 this morning. Well, let's hope for better headlines tomorrow. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Good morning.